Hi there. Welcome to Brampton Votes 2025, Provincial Edition. My name is Vijai Singh, and I'm the CEO of the Brampton Board of Trade. On behalf of myself and our members, thank you for making the time to watch these conversations. These provincial candidate interviews are a reflection of the Brampton Board of Trade's commitment to civic engagement, something essential for a strong and functioning democracy. Today, we have two very simple goals. One, to ensure that those who seek office in our community have an understanding of the issues that matter most to us. Secondly, it's to ensure that us, as voters, we have an understanding of where those who seek office stand on the key issues that affect us in our day-to-day lives. We know that regardless of whether one is part of government or in opposition, simply by being elected, you have the opportunity to shape policy and affect the lives of not just those in the province broadly, but those here in Brampton very specifically. And we want to make sure that we have confidence in those who we're sending to office. Now, typically, these types of conversations would take place in the form of a debate, where we had all candidates together and giving them the opportunity to express ideas and challenge one another. However, given the rapid nature in which this election came together, unfortunately, we were not able to get all candidates to participate. As a result, we instead made the decision to conduct a series of conversations with a moderator who will sit down with the candidate alongside a panel of community experts who will pose questions to the individual, allowing us instead to go a little bit deeper, give you the opportunity to understand who they are, where they stand on issues, and hopefully develop a really deep understanding of who it is that you'd like to vote for. These conversations will have some structure to them. Each candidate will have the opportunity to give a short opening where they'll explain who they are, what motivated them to run for office, and what it is that they stand for. Our moderator, Vijai Singh, who's the manager of policy and government relations at the Board of Trade, will then work with our panel to ensure that we get a fulsome understanding of where that candidate stands on critical issues that matter to us. Overall, we feel that we did a fantastic job with the candidates that we had, and we hope that you'll find these conversations informative. Now, I do want to remind you that if you do like the work that we're doing here at the Board of Trade, please come out and support us. You can find more about what we do at bramptonbot.com. We're always looking for more engagement in what we're doing, whether it be here as part of civic engagement with our elected officials or broadly in terms of the impacts we're trying to make in our community. Finally, I do want to remind you that it's important that you vote. Advanced polls open on February 20th and are open until the 22nd, with Election Day on the 27th. Every vote matters. Please make sure yours counts. We hope you find these conversations inspiring and also informative, and we look forward to having your feedback. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brampton Votes. My name is Vijai Singh, and I'm the Manager of Policy and Government Relations for the Brampton Board of Trade. I am pleased to be joined by Sameera Falcon Khan, the Green Party candidate for Brampton North. Thank you so much for joining us today.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And before we get into the conversation, I'll just explain the structure of it. So we'll spend a few minutes just having a conversation, getting to know each other. I'll ask a few questions about you as a person, as a candidate. You can let folks know why they should vote for you. And then I'll throw it over to our esteemed panel to ask pointed policy questions that reflect the priorities of the Brampton community. Does that sound okay?
That sounds amazing. Thank
Great.
you.
Great. So to get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose to run in this election?
Thank you very kindly. It's a good question, and it's something that we all should be aware of when we're thinking about who our candidates are for Brampton. So my name is Sameera Falcon Khan, and right now I work with York University as a domestic student recruitment officer. So what this means is I go around to all the high schools in Ontario, essentially, talking to high school students, talking to parents, talking to guidance counselors. And one of the main reasons I decided to run in this particular election is because of all these amazing students that I've been talking to, these folks with big ideas, new ways of thinking. And on top of all that, I'm seeing diminishing returns as far as their ability to engage in today's market, whether it be housing, whether it be the employment markets, different job opportunities. And just from talking to these kids and just from seeing the energy that they're bringing forward into the world today, I need these ideas, these perspectives incorporated into our societies, into our institutions and our ways of thinking. I'm here today because I want real strategic change for folks, not just in Brampton, but Ontario, and as a result, the rest of the country, because we are the powerhouse of this country, and I'm here to implement real solid solutions that work for folks, regular folks like you and I. Not billionaires, not millionaires, not CEOs, just folks like you and I trying to get by, trying to survive on whatever little we can. And I want these ideas, I want these students to be amazing, to do awesome things in today's world. That's why I'm here today.
Excellent, great. And you are running in Brampton North.
That's right.
Could you tell us a little bit about your connection to that community?
Absolutely. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I actually recently moved to Brampton North from Toronto. So I've been here in this particular riding for about a year, but this year has been such an incredible year that I've been here. I've seen some amazing things. I have seen differences between Toronto and between Brampton, and I have seen ways that Brampton does things better, ways that Brampton can actually lead and establish policy for the rest of the province, the rest of the country, and particularly in the way that you've got recreation centers, libraries, literally dotting every single part of the Brampton map. This is amazing for community building. It's great to give folks a way to connect with not just Brampton itself, but the wider world through these particular recreational activities, these parks, the availability of green space. So I've been here a short time, but it's been an amazing time so far.
And has Brampton inspired you to be more, I guess, to contribute to our community?
Oh, absolutely, most definitely. So in Toronto, I took this attitude of, oh, there's other people working on things, let them do their thing. But I come to Brampton and I see places, and see this amazing place, and I see the potential for this city to be incredible. And it really pushed me, along with the other training that I've received in different areas, working with uncertainty. It's really pushed me to step up and step out into the world and present a solid, strong voice for folks just like you and I to go out there to Queen's Park and to make real things happen. So definitely, it's been a transformative experience being in Brampton, being here, connected with folks, and just circling back to why I'm running as well too. So I use transit. I use Brampton Transit all the time. It's my preference. I want to be using socialized mass transit, and waiting for the number 23 Sandalwood is brutal. I've called into their department so many times, and I realized this is another reason why I decided to run. Because if somebody's going to make changes, it's got to be the person using the services itself. So I'm all about transit, housing affordability, food affordability as well too, and protecting the places that actually generate our food, the farmlands around Ontario that are under threat by unfortunate, short-sighted, and narrow-minded policies.
And as a relative newcomer to the community, what do you want to see for the future of Brampton?
I want to see improved transit first and foremost. I want to be able to get from here to Toronto, to Oshawa, to Pickering within a matter of an hour. I don't want to be sitting around for 3 hours on transit just to get to a job that I need to work in order to pay my bills and pay my mortgage. I want to be able to move around the city, use the convenience of Brampton, the different commercial centers available here. I want students living in Brampton to be able to have access to all of the opportunities available to folks everywhere else. I want them to be able to use their ability to be amazing in every way, shape, and form.
Incredible. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll move on to our panel questions now. And before I turn it over to you, when I call on you to ask your question, if you can please introduce yourself and the organization that you represent before you ask your question, that would be wonderful. So we'll start with Kate Saldana.
Thank you. My name is Kate Saldana. I'm here in my capacity today as the chair of the Brampton Board of Trade. My question is going to center around business and what our membership, which is comprised of businesses of all types and sizes that serve this community, a concern that really unites all of them. And that question is related to the increased cost of business. So what is your party's position? How will you support business in dealing with increasing costs, whether that be from tariffs, inflation, supply chain disruptions, whatever the cost, the increased cost of doing business?
Thank you very kindly for that question. It's an important question. It's really valuable because businesses form the pillars of our community. They're where we go to work, where we go to purchase the things that we need in order to live, in order to survive, and be amazing in all the other ways that we are present in Brampton. And one of the things that we're planning on doing is finding ways to find efficiencies so that businesses can interact more efficiently with government, to be able to identify different ways that they can find cost cuttings, cost savings as well too. I want to find ways to reduce taxes on small businesses, because these small businesses are the ones who are hiring and employing the most people. They're also the ones that are keeping money in our communities. So what I want to do is I want to tax multinational corporations who come in, extract value from our communities, and then send that off into Lord knows where in this world. Multinational corporations that are not investing in Brampton. I want to focus on small businesses, find ways for them to find cost savings and efficiencies, because they are the ones who are putting their money back into the community, whether it's through supporting sporting organizations for students, for kids to come and do something after school, or whether it's just employing local folks so that they don't have to travel 2 to 3 hours to make a living. I want to find ways for Brampton to have a strong voice in Parliament at Queen's Park, so that we can present a unified, strong front against tariffs that are coming, and find ways where we can detach ourselves from this American machine, because it is not right that we are so intertwined and so interconnected with this large imperialist power that now wants to absorb us and swallow us up. Not on my watch. Read my lips. We are here to protect businesses. We're here to fight for the rights to the ability to do business effectively and efficiently, save money where we can, pass those savings on to consumers so that we can all work together, all live together more efficiently and more effectively. So I want to also form advisory committees where I can get small businesses from different areas within Brampton to come together, talk about their collective challenges, talk about their collective solutions as well too, so that we can learn from each other, we can build on the strength that we already have, and identify the critical areas that need addressing right this minute. As a member of Queen's Park, as a member of provincial parliaments, I want to talk to people who are actually doing the work of existing and building our community, and find out what they need right now from me in order to make their lives easier so that they can continue to do the incredible things that they're doing. That's what the Green Party of Ontario is aiming for. Thank you.
Thank you for that. No, you mentioned, so in the question is an acknowledgement of these tariffs from the United States. Doug Ford has spoken at length about the concerns about this, and in fact, that was the primary motivation for calling an early election. What is your perspective and the Green Party's perspective on diversifying our trading partners and ultimately addressing interprovincial trade barriers?
And let's also talk about diversifying our industries as well too. So one of the things that we are focused on is detaching ourselves and disconnecting ourselves from this fossil fuel machine. Here's how we're doing it. We are offering heat pumps available to households for free for folks under a certain income threshold, and with zero interest loans for folks above a certain threshold, so we can reduce our reliance on natural gas, on petroleum, on oil, and we can build a more efficient, more sustainable society where we're not constantly sucking things out of the ground so that we can continue to just heat our homes and cook our food. We're finding ways to create those efficiencies by providing incentives for folks to decouple themselves from this extremely extractive, extremely dirty industry. And I do not want to see any more taxpayer dollars going to subsidizing these multinational corporations that, again, do not invest in our local communities. So one way that is going to help us in terms of our troubles with the United States is that we don't have to worry about them quite as much in terms of who are we going to sell our oil to. We don't have to worry about that, because we will have a way to heat our homes, to produce the electricity that we need in order to survive. And on top of that, let's create food stability within Ontario itself. We have some of the most fertile and amazing farmlands. Let's work with these farmers. Let's create subsidies for them so that we can keep our food prices down. Let's take that money away from the fossil fuel companies. Let's find ways to create new, better, smarter industries so that we're not relying on the United States to sell our aluminum and to sell our oil. Let's find trading partners in different parts of the world where we can find more alignment with our values, because one of the things, we are very different from the United States in a lot of ways. Some folks will say we're very similar, but I say we're more different than we are similar. We have better healthcare, a better perspective on education. We are the leader in a lot of social areas, including things like decriminalization and finding ways of improving mental health supports for folks so that we can create this solid foundation where folks can build themselves up. So diversifying trade with different partners around the world, particularly the European Union, particularly South America and Africa as well too. So many untapped markets because we have been dependent on our larger neighbors to the south. It was a relationship of convenience. Let's be real about that. And now it's convenient for us to stretch our wings, to move beyond these artificial borders that we've created for ourselves and see what else is available out there.
Thank you for. I have a million questions, but I do want to move on to our next panelist, Moaz Ahmed.
Sameera, I'm Moaz Ahmed. I'm the volunteer chair of the Policy and Government Relations Committee at the Brampton Board of Trade. My question is really about Brampton and Brampton's growth. So we know recently from a StatCan update that Brampton's now the third largest city in Ontario. And with Brampton's rapid population growth over the past 20 years, we want to know, what is your party's commitment to expanding public transit and housing? And some specific examples might be two-way all-day GO service on the Kitchener line and the extension of the Huron-Ontario LRT, as well as other projects that the Board of Trade has been advocating for.
Thank you, and that aligns so perfectly with my party's goals and objectives. So transit is definitely one of our top priorities, and what we're planning on doing is funding research into areas that need transit. And I'm talking about areas that critically lack the transit that need in order to be connected to the rest of the city, to the rest of the province, to the rest of the region as well too. So we're going to find areas where they are desperately needing transit, like for example the Sandalwood corridor. How do we make that more efficient? How do we make that more effective so that this bus will show up on time and show up just to begin with? I want to give more money to the municipalities so that they can specifically invest in transit projects, whether it's hiring more mechanics so that the buses we do have are working, are functioning, little things like that. The things that don't get the ribbon cutting, these are things that matter. Again, the maintenance facilities, making sure that drivers are supported, are paid well, making sure that we've got administrative staff who can manage these things effectively. That all requires money, it requires funding. We want to make that funding available for the municipalities, not just Brampton, which is the third largest city in the province now, which is incredible. Huge change. And I want to make that clear that we are fighting for individuals, again, like you and I, who depend on these services, who choose not to drive a car and want to use GO Transit. I want to be able to get from Toronto to Brampton within under an hour. That's my goal. 2 hours, 3 hours, unacceptable, not in a province of this caliber and of this ability. Also in terms of housing, we're fighting speculators. We want to challenge the corporate takeover of public lands, of our rental properties, and we want to fight them on this because that money, again, is not staying in our communities. We want to create more incentives for folks to buy a house for the first time, and we're removing roadblocks for those, including land inheritance taxes, land transfer taxes. We're removing that. We're removing taxes for first-time home buyers as well too, and we want to fight speculators, folks who come in, buy up a property with the sole intent of flipping that for twice as much as what they had paid for or what it's even worth. Homes are for families. They're for folks like you and I who need a place to live, need a place to sleep that's warm, comfortable, and safe and accessible to transit so that we're not all stuck in traffic, all sitting behind a million cars. Here's why transit is so important for drivers and for transit users as well too. So as a driver, getting around, one bus will hold, say, 50, 60 people. Getting around one bus, easy. You turn, you go, and you're gone. Getting around 50 cars, now you're in stifling traffic. You've got all this carbon pollution coming into your face. You've got kids walking at that level of those tailpipes, walking around in these soupy, dirty mixes. We've seen what air pollution does to other parts of the world. That is not what I want to see in Brampton. I want to see better transit, and I want to see better housing that supports people as well too. That means no more trillion-dollar, billion-dollar houses. Let's make houses that actually matter, like places where low and middle-income folks can find a place, can find a home, afford it, and be able to pay it off in less than 100 years. That's what I'm after.
Thank you for that. That's a great answer. And Moaz is the chair of our Policy and Government Relations Committee, but he's also the co-founder of Scooty, a micromobility company as well.
I've heard of Scooty. Isn't that where you've got the little bikes that go from Go Tracing stations?
We have shared micromobility. It's a way of helping people get around without having to drive. I do actually have a follow-up question, since you mentioned, and I think this is important to me as well as a parent, diesel school buses. Quebec has taken the lead, and other states in the United States have taken the lead on electrifying school buses. Is that something that's in the Green Party's platform? Is that something that you're intending to move forward on?
Most definitely. And I say that because I also have, from my experience working with York University, we have electric shuttle buses that will move you around from campus to campus. Brilliant. You have no idea how much money that saves on overall maintenance, on gas prices, and the fact that we can control how much we can pay in terms of fueling up a vehicle so they can get to where it needs to go without dumping a whole lot of pollutants into the air. So electrifying diesel school buses, absolutely, because who is it that's actually using these school buses? It's small little kids, it's folks with underdeveloped lungs that are now breathing in these pollutants, these PM 2.5 particles, this particulate pollution. Mm-hmm. If we're committed to taking care of children and taking care of the younger generation, let's start there. Let's make sure that they're not breathing in this stuff, and electrifying school buses to save money for the boards, especially on maintenance and gasoline. So definitely, thank you for raising that.
And we'll move on to our last panelist, and then we'll wrap up. So, Angela Carter.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Sameera. My name is Angela Carter, and I am here in the capacity today as a community advocate and a member of the leadership team of Metamorphosis Network of Peel. So in 2024, Metamorphosis published a report which found that services in Peel region are underfunded by the province by $868 million annually. That means each year, each resident of Peel receives $578 less than the average Ontarian for local social services. We have asked all of the candidates to sign a pledge recognizing that the province of Ontario underfunds community services in Peel region, and to commit to making investments and work collaboratively to resolve this issue. You signed the Metamorphosis pledge, thank you, to commit to better funding. Could you speak more about why you signed this pledge? But I want to follow up too on that. So why did you sign this pledge? And how will your party ensure that the region receives adequate funding for the essential services, such as healthcare and education as well? Because that is what is being affected by the shortfall.
Pledge, and I've signed it because it just makes perfect sense. If we want to support individuals like you and I, folks at the ground level, where do we start? We don't start at the federal level. We start at the municipal level, at the regional level, where folks know exactly what their specific challenges are in that particular space. They are the best equipped to identify solutions, identify challenges, and to find the talent, the local talents who are able to come in, do the work of solving some of these challenges. And so that's why I signed it up, because it makes perfect sense. It's the right thing to do, because we are going to find solutions at the grassroots level. Folks like you and I are the ones coming up with these solutions. Folks like you and I have the vested interest in supporting the spaces that we live in by ensuring that schools are properly funded, that our roofs are not caving in, and that we don't have asbestos still kicking around in our buildings. We want to make sure our students are growing up in the best situations possible, because This is our future pipelines. These are the innovators of tomorrow. These are the folks that are going to solve the problems that our ancestors have created, like the current government who has created this shortfall in funding. And your follow-up question, I believe, Angela, was how are we going to do this? Where are we going to find the money? Love it. So the one thing that we are not going to do is raise taxes for low and middle income folks. Absolutely not, because that just exacerbates the problem that we've found ourselves in. Here's what we will do. We are going to take money away from wasteful highways that go literally nowhere, that eat up valuable farmland that is causing our food prices to rise up as well too. We're going to take money from these wasteful projects, these projects clearly designed to support millionaire and billionaire kickbacks that Doug Ford and the rest of the Conservative Party love so much. We're going to take money away from these, redirect these funds to the places where they matter, like the municipalities, like the region appeals, so that they can focus on the specific problems that those municipalities face, solve those problems with a little bit of extra funding. That's how we're going to do it.
Thank you.
Amongst other things.
Sameera Falcon Khan, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. And I'd love to give you just maybe a minute to speak directly to voters.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very kindly. Vote for the Green Party of Ontario on February 27th, 2025. And here's why. Here's a couple of reasons why. First of all, I am just like you. I live in Brampton. I use the services in Brampton. I need this place to work properly. That's why I'm running. I'm here because I know that things are not right in Brampton, in the province. I want to make those changes. I am best positioned to make those changes because I am not funded by giant grocery chains. I am not funded by CEOs and millionaires who have already sold off our education, sold off our healthcare. I am funded by folks like you and I who drop maybe a $10 here, maybe a $20. That's who helps support this campaign, and that means I'm accountable to just you. So if you want real strategic change in the province of Ontario, start today. Vote for the Green Party of Ontario. Vote for Sameera Falcon Khan in Brampton North. And I guarantee you that you will see some solid change in the next 4 years.
Sameera Falcon Khan, thank you so much.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you very kindly. And thank you all as well too.
Thank you again for making the time to watch. We hope you found these conversations inspiring and informative. A reminder that advanced polls open on February 20th and are open until the 22nd, and that Election Day is on February 27th. It's very important that you have your voice heard, and I encourage you, please make sure you get out and vote. If you'd like to watch videos of the other ridings, visit our Brampton Board of Trade YouTube page to see listed there, and you can see all the candidates that were available. Finally, if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing at the Brampton Board of Trade, visit our website at bramptonbot.com. Once again, thank you so much.